Hello and welcome to Mel Make Stuff. My name is Melissa, and in this video I'm going to be talking about some upcoming projects that I have planned for my fall and winter wardrobe. So last winter I realized that although I have a lot of sweaters that I have handmade over the years, that I don't have any that are like cute for like on a date. So anytime I was going out with my husband and it was the winter, I was just looking like the Michelin Man. The other thing I realized about my wardrobe is that I don't have a ton of pants that I like to wear. I do have a couple of pairs that I've made myself and I do prefer those, but I don't really have enough to wear throughout the week, like to work. I also don't really do skirts in the winter because I'm in Boston, so. With this in mind, I chose 3 sweaters and 3 pairs of pants that I want to make before the cold weather gets here, so here's what I'm thinking right now. The first sweater that I chose is Goode by Julie Hoover. This is a Purl Soho pattern. I think I was really taken in by the styling and the pattern photos here, so hopefully this will look cute on me and not frumpy. I'm planning to use stash yarn for all of these, so for this one I'll be using Bare Naked Wool's Better Breakfast Fingering, which is a blend of wool, alpaca, and nylon. It's also grown and spun in the US, which is something that I'm trying to move more towards in my stash. They do all natural colors, so this one is called Muesli. The second sweater I chose is the Favo sweater by Fiber Tales. This one is sort of out there in terms of the shape. It's a drop shoulder construction with a ton of ease and is also really cropped. For this one you have to hold a heavier weight yarn like a DK or worsted with a strand of mohair, so I'm going to use some Quince & Co. Lark in the Petal colorway, held together with Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in the Plum Rose colorway. The third sweater is the Damejakka Loppa by Pinneguri. I've made this sweater before and it was a super quick knit, but I've been wanting another one in a different color scheme. For this one, I'm going to be using an assortment of Bartlett yarn sport from my stash. The manufacturer calls this a sport weight and I would agree, but each skein has 430 yards per 4 ounces. So it's really, if you're just looking at yardage, it's sort of a fingering weight yardage. It's woolen spun though, and Bartlett is in Maine, so they actually have the last operating spinning mule in the US, which is super cool. And the way that this yarn is spun results in it being super lofty. You could knit this at a ton of different gauges. Here's my swatch of the yoke colors. I think I'll change this inner square here to be a lighter color for more contrast, but otherwise I'm pretty happy with this. Now on to the sewing. One of the pants patterns I'm looking at is the Philippa pants by Anna Allen Clothing. So this is a tapered leg style with a high waist, and this pattern is meant for relatively heavyweight, non-stretch fabrics. I'm not super sure about that with such a close fit on these, but we'll have to see. I might choose something with a tiny amount of stretch, like maybe 1 to 2% elastane content. I've had success with that in the past, just so my waist doesn't feel so constricted. I'm also using stash fabrics for all of the sewing. So for the Philippa pants, I'll either be using this stretch denim. It's dark denim. It's got just a tiny bit of stretch. Or I'll use this black, it's like a twill, stretch twill. I'm not too sure about this one because it's a little bit thin, but maybe I'll use the stretch twill for a muslin. The second pair is the Lander Pants pattern by True Bias. I have made this pattern 3 times already and I love it. I would consider this a tried and true pattern for me. The way these are constructed makes it really easy to do fit adjustments along the hip and upper leg, which can sometimes be dicey areas for me in terms of fit, so I really appreciate that the pattern is constructed in that way. This pattern is also written for non-stretch fabrics, but again, my preferred pairs of these have had a tiny amount of stretch, so I will likely go that route again. For the Landers, I'll be going with the full-length version, and I will either be using this dark denim that has a tiny, tiny bit of stretch again. It's really more of like a mechanical stretch thing. I don't even know if there's any lycra or elastane content in here. And my other option is this very fine wale corduroy, which is technically a stretch corduroy, so I'm sort of leaning towards maybe one or both, honestly. I might make 2 pairs of these. We'll just have to see. The third pair is the Dawn Jeans pattern by Nielsen. I might be a glutton for punishment, but this pattern is also written for non-stretch fabrics. My gut is telling me that I should obey in this instance. I'm not sure exactly why, but we'll have to see if that instinct is correct. I'm leaning towards either view A or view B, which are the tapered and straight leg versions respectively. Straight leg can be pretty frumpy on me unless the proportions are exactly right, so we'll see how I feel when it comes time to trace off the pattern. I have two non-stretch bottom weights in my stash that I'm considering for this. One is this paisley print. It's almost a chambray. It actually might be a little bit too light for this, but we'll see. The other option is this floral denim that has no stretch whatsoever, so I think this is probably what I'm gonna go with. So that's the current plan for additions to my fall and winter wardrobe. I'll likely have some other projects going on the side, but since these 6 items are things that my wardrobe actually needs, I'm trying to focus a little bit. I'm planning to have a separate video for each project, so for this series of videos, I'll be doing them more in the project diary style, where I bring you along with me through the planning, the cutting, the construction, and then the review at the end. I'm planning to work on all of these projects simultaneously, so there won't be a whole ton of time in between each video release, so I hope that you guys enjoy that. Let me know what you think of my plans in the comments below. If you're planning on doing something similar for the cold weather coming up, I'd love to hear about it. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.